So now that you have your Reveal cell camera all set up, activated, and linked to your phone, whether you just got it set up or it's out in the field already taking pictures or videos, I want to walk you through in this video the app and just give you a broad overview and some of the features that it has to offer. This one specifically, I'm going to be looking at the Reveal X Gen 2 camera and some of the features that it offers. So I'm going to go to my phone and I'm going to navigate to the Tactacam Reveal app. When you initially open it up, it's going to go to the home page, which you'll see gives you a bunch of photos on here. Now, these photos are in order by the most recent one taken. So the most recent photo will show up first. Now you do have the ability to filter the way that you see these photos on your home page. If I click this photo filter button at the bottom right-hand corner, it lets me filter those photos on my home feed. So I could filter them by farm, for example. If I just wanted to see photos from my home farm, I could select it and apply. The next thing that you'll notice is on the bottom bar, there are several icons. If I go to the next icon, that takes me to my gallery. Now your gallery is set up so that you can set up multiple folders from different farms or different bucks. You can add specific photos of bucks to separate galleries based on how you want to organize them. There's no default gallery. You set those up and customize them the way that you want. The next icon is your map icon. This is really cool. So this shows you your location. If you have your cameras activated and set up, it'll show you on your map different places that your cameras are located so you can actually view them from a map view. The next icon that you see is a person with a little gear icon. This is basically your account page. So in here you'll be able to see things like your profile. You can look at how your notifications are set up for your phone. So do you want to get a notification on your phone every time you get a picture? The other thing that's on here is your ability to connect to a camera. So if you have one of the newer cameras, you can connect directly to your camera if you're next to it. So for example, if you're setting up this Reveal X Gen 2, then you can connect right to it and see a live view right on your phone that'll show you how to set up the camera, how it's positioned on there. So this is something that works just when you're next to your camera and can connect directly to your camera generated Wi-Fi. Moving on from there, there's a question mark. This is your frequently asked questions, your help videos. If you're having issues and you need to troubleshoot, that's where you go to find that. So now I'm going to navigate back to my homepage and we're going to go through some of the features and how you change them on your phone that will directly correlate over to your camera. This camera that I have here is the Reveal X Gen 2, so we're going to use this one as an example. Now, obviously, the camera is sitting right here. But in reality, this camera would be out in the field, it's taking photos, and you can change all the features at home right from your phone. So let's jump into it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is navigate to my camera icon. This is set up by location. So I'm going to go to the location of home farm, and I have this camera named Reveal X1. So if I want to go into the settings, I'm going to click on this tool icon right in this bar here, and it'll take me to the camera settings. Now you'll see these are all settings that I can change right here on my phone that will affect this camera. So I don't have to go out to the field if I want to change it from photo to video mode. I don't have to go out to the field to change any of these settings and can change them right here without blowing out deer or having to go in there and put unwanted scent down. All of these features you can change right here in your phone. So let's just go down through the list. The first one that you'll see is camera mode. Now this specifies if the camera is just going to take a photo or take a video. Right now, as you'll see, it's set to default photo mode. If I want to take videos, I can go in here, select Pic plus Video, and now my camera is going to take one photo and then take a video after that. Now the beauty is I can specify the length of video that this takes, and we'll get to that as we go down this list. The next thing that you'll see is image size. I can go on here and set different image sizes based on the quality of photo that I want the camera to take. For me, I like to set it on that 16 megapixel mode. That just gives me the best quality image. Next, you'll see video size. Again, you have the ability to select the video size that you want to receive. I like to use the Full HD 1080p. That way I know I'm getting the best video quality possible. That's the nice thing about these cameras, is that it allows you to get really, really good photos and really, really good video quality. The advantage of getting a little smaller video quality would just be that it takes up less file size, so it's taking up less room on your SD card. But in reality, you're not going back and forth in there to change your SD card all the time. These photos and videos, they're coming straight to your phone. So, I set mine on 1080 HD. That way, those high quality videos are being stored on my SD card within the camera. The next thing that you'll see is video length. So I can set the specified video length that I want. You can set it at 5 seconds. I like to set mine a little longer, more around that 10 to 15 second mark. That way, when a deer comes in, your camera's triggering, it's snapping a photo quick, and then it's taking that longer video and capturing what's going on. The nice thing about these Reveals, and especially the new ones like the Reveal X Gen 2, will send those videos right to your phone. So that video mode allows you to just gain that little extra intel when that deer walks in front of your camera. Moving down from there, you'll see something that says multi-shot. You can choose here 1 photo, 2 photo, or 3 photos. So what does this mean? Well, if you choose 1 photo, an animal walks in front of your camera, it triggers and it takes 1 photo. I could switch it to 3 photos, and what that means is it's going to take a 3 photo burst. So a deer, animal, elk runs in front of your camera. That camera, if it's set to 3 photos, is going to take 1, 2, 3 photos with that 1 trigger. Past that, multi-shot interval. So this allows you to create an interval in between shots taken. So if I have it set to take 3 photos, then I can set that interval of time between those photos. So do I want it to take a photo, take a photo, take a photo, or take a photo, wait 2 seconds, take another photo, wait 2 seconds, take another photo. So that multi-shot interval is the amount of time it takes between each of those multi-shot photos. So moving down the list, the next thing you're going to see is night mode. If you click on night mode, you'll see there's 3 options there: max range, balanced, and minimum blur. Now here's the difference. Max range would be a situation where your camera's maybe set up on a field and you might have things crossing that are a little further away. It's going to increase that exposure length that the camera opens up and closes, so it's going to let in a little more light. Now, again, the reason you might use this is if you're on a field and you might expect animals crossing a little further in the distance and you want a little more light at night just to get out there and capture them. The IR flash is going to be a little greater with that max range. The next one is balance, which we'll get to in a second. But the alternative to max range is minimum blur. So that min blur means that exposure is open for a shorter amount of time. You might get a little better image quality because that exposure is not open so much, but you might not get as much light as you would with the max range. So if you're on a trail and things are coming by your camera close, then that's the time where min range is good. Now balanced is exactly what it sounds like. It's a balance of both. So it's right in between those two. That exposure is timed, so you're still trying to minimize that blur with getting as much out of your IR flash as possible. Moving down the list, battery type. This is pretty self-explanatory. If you're using lithium batteries, go ahead and select lithium batteries. If you're using just your standard alkaline batteries, select alkaline. Flash power. Now you have 2 options here, high and low. And again, just like night mode, it really depends on what kind of situation your camera's set up in. A high flash power is just going to give you a little more IR flash out there. So if it's on a field edge and animals might be crossing a little further away, you'll want that flash power set on high. But if it's set on low, you won't have quite as much reach with your IR flash, but it may work just fine for you if you have a trail and animals are crossing really close there. What low power does is it allows your battery life to increase a little bit. So, you use that low flash power, helps you save a little bit on your batteries. The next thing you'll see is delay. What is delay? Well, it's the delay in between your camera triggering and taking a picture. So if you have your camera set on one photo, so every time an animal walks in front of there, it triggers and takes a photo. If you have your delay set on 5 seconds, well then animal will walk in front, it'll trigger it, take a photo, and then that camera won't trigger again for 5 seconds. Now, here's the catch. If you have your camera set on instantaneous send mode, so as soon as it takes a picture, it's sending it to your phone, that delay will start after it sends the picture. So by default, there's no delay set on. So your camera's gonna take a photo, it's gonna send it to your phone, and then as soon as it's done, it's gonna trigger again if an animal's still there, take another picture, send it to your phone. If your camera, for example, maybe is set up over a feeder and you don't want it to take a picture so rapidly every single second, then you might wanna set a delay. If you set that delay for 10 seconds, it'll trigger, take a photo, send it to your phone, then there will be a 10-second delay, then it'll trigger again, take another photo, and repeat. So that's what delay is. Moving down, you'll see work timer. What is the work timer? Well, the work timer allows you to set up your camera in a way that it will only take pictures during a certain amount of time. When do you want your camera to work? So for whatever reason, if you only wanted your camera to take photos during the day, so between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., well, you could go on here and set the work timer for your camera to start taking pictures then, and then stop taking pictures at 8 p.m. So those times outside of your work timer, your camera would not trigger and would not take a photo and send it to you. Moving down the list, SD loop is next. Now this just refers to pictures and videos that are being captured on your SD card. So, for example, you have your 32 gigabyte high-speed SD card in your camera. It's taking photos, taking photos, taking photos. They're all being stored on that SD card. Now your SD card fills up. What happens then? Here's where SD loop comes in. If you have SD loop turned on, what will happen is your camera will start overwriting the photos that you originally took. So with it turned on, you take 1,000 pictures, just for example, and your SD card fills up. Well, it'll keep putting pictures or videos on that SD card, but it'll start overwriting those previous pictures and it'll start with 1. So it'll loop all the way back around. Now, if you have SD loop turned off, what will happen is your SD card will fill up and then your photos and videos will no longer be stored on that SD card. It'll just stop storing them altogether. Moving down, we come to settings check. Now this is an important one. So if you have your settings check set to daily, what will happen is this camera will check back into your app once a day. So it'll update itself, and if you've changed any settings within this app like we're talking about right now, at that point, when your camera checks in, it'll update those settings. Now you can also set it to instant. What does that do? That means whenever you make changes on here, your camera is continuously checking in with your app, and those changes will be made instantly to your camera. So let's talk about a difference here. Say that I wanted to change my camera from photo to video mode. If my camera is set on daily check-in, I can make that change on my app, and then the next time that that camera checks in, whenever it is that day, or within that 24-hour daily check-in time, it'll then get that update and update on the camera. If I have it set on instant, what it will do is as soon as I make that change within my app, it'll instantly happen within that camera. So that camera is continuously checking in. The only downfall to the instant part is it does use more battery life. When you're checking in daily, it uses a little less battery life. Motion sensitivity. Now by default, motion sensitivity is set to 7. Now, this is something that you can play with. This basically just controls how sensitive that trigger is. So if you have animals that are moving far away and you need a little more motion sensitivity, you can adjust here. The next thing that you'll see on here is send type. So what this does is it tells your camera how often to send you photos or videos. There's 3 options here. There's timely, there's once every 24 hours or twice every 24 hours. So again, let's dig into this. I have mine right now set on timely. So that means animal walks in front, it triggers, snaps a picture, and sends it directly to my phone, and I get it right away. The next one is once every 24 hours, which would be daily. So that means that my camera is triggering, taking photos, taking photos, taking photos. And then once a day, it will check in and send me all of those photos in a batch. So it's not sending me continuous pictures all day long. It's just taking photos all day long and then sending to me as a batch group once a day. The next option would be twice every 24 hours. So twice a day or once every 12 hours. And it's the same concept as before. The camera is continuously taking photos, but twice a day, it sends me a batch of photos. I will note, if you choose to have your camera send you photos twice a day, you can then go in and set the times in which you receive that batch of photos. So I could have a batch of photos sent to me at noon, and then another batch sent to me at 10 o'clock at night. Now, you might think, why would you do this and not have them sent to you instantaneously? Well, there's a few reasons, but one is, again, with instantaneous, your camera is always sending you photos, so it's using a little more battery life. Now, the battery life on these cameras is amazing as is, but if you want to extend it just even a little longer and you don't need those photos right away, you can set them up to send them to you once a day or twice a day to make that battery last even a little longer. The last thing that you'll see when it comes to adjusting settings on your app is check-in picture. Basically, all this is that every time your camera checks in, so if it checks in once a day or twice a day, it's going to send you a picture and let you know that it checked in. So as you can see, there are lots of features and lots of great ones that are built into this camera. The best part about it is you don't have to go out and visit your camera every time you want to change one. You're getting all the intel, all the photos, all the videos sent right to your phone. And the beauty is that you can change all of these settings and tailor them the way that you want them on the fly, right on your phone, and they'll translate to your camera in the field.